Hi and welcome to today's video in which I've got a couple of hauls that I've made within the last week, and I thought I'd share them with you. The first one was from Boots, and it's actually a Laura Mercier translucent setting powder in the jumbo size. I'm just going to reach across and show you this. Now, you've seen this before in an unboxing of Latest in Beauty, because I picked this up and it's the translucent. Also, it's described as that, but I think it's translucent honey, because there is different names. The translucent honey, there's another one that's dark. So when I've picked up the translucent from Boots, it is a lighter shade, so I'm fairly convinced it's the honey. Now, I use that on the T-zone because I have such an emollient skincare routine that once I put all the products on, my face will glow, it will shine, and my hair will stick to it. So I do use a little bit of powder on the T-zone, and I've had problems finding a very good powder that doesn't go claggy, that isn't too reflective, that doesn't feel unpleasant on the skin. So I've really found a winner in the Laura Mercier. I do have a favourite, which is the Charlotte Tilbury. It's pressed. You don't get, I think it's 8 grams for around 38 to 40 pound now, and yeah, I could go through it very fast. So I thought, if I got a loose powder, you generally get better value for money. So I was aware of the Laura Mercier, but I'd never tried it because the powders tend to be a bit yellow in tone, but I know they've had excellent reviews. So once I tried this one, it still worked very, very well, really light, feather light on the skin. So I've used like a little powder brush and just put it really over the T-zone, and it's worked extremely well. And it doesn't mattify, it just tones down the glow. Now, if you want to mattify, then you would use a powder puff, which they advise, and that's what comes in this container. So this is supposed, Boots say it's an exclusive to them, but it isn't. Space NK also sell this exact product in the same packaging for £42. Now, it's the same price at Boots, but there's an offer on at the moment for 20% off high-end brands. So I got this for £33, which I was quite pleased about, and it is the jumbo size. The standard is £27, and you get about 28 gram. This one is 49 gram, and it was £33. So there it is. It's huge, humongous, and this is so it's quite a bit bigger than the standard. The difference between the standard and this is it has a mesh or a filter, shall I say, a sifter to sift out powder, but it's one piece, so it doesn't come undone. There's no way to get this out, where in the other ones you can. Maybe it's for refilling. Certainly with this one, could be used as a travel one, and it has a little sifter, a plastic sifter that can be removed. So you can use the velour. That will make it more matte in that it will press the powder into the skin. I may at some point use it, but I'm happy to use a light dusting with a brush. But I was very, very pleased with that. Although I know it is costly, I'm not going to deny it. £33 for powder is a lot, and it will probably last me a long time, as long as I use product in a lid and then cleanse the lid with rubbing alcohol, excuse me, or disinfectant, and put it back on. It should last a long time. Now, but they do use this. They have different formulas in this. There's a banana powder type one, and there's a brightening one. So there are other formulas you can go for, but I've got the standard one. So then I saw on Urban Decay, I think there was a third off that. And this is a green. You can see the colour there, see the shade green. It's a metallic green eyeliner, and it's the 24/7 Glide On. And this is in Mildew, which isn't a very nice name, is it? It's mould, but it's a metallic green. I can't say there's a silver shift, but it's a cool shift to it, if you know what I mean. Although olive green, it is not a blue green by any means. It's a very dark green that would have had a bit of yellow in, if you know what I mean, which are my favourite sorts of greens. I love khaki. So this is a soft pencil, but not the softest I've seen. I've got another green one that's very, very soft as butter. This I'd still describe as soft, so it's not necessarily the best for precision, but it is good for smudging. But I know a lot of people do like these, and I think I paid about £12, so I'm pleased to get that. Then I decided to go and But what I was going to say is, whilst I was on that, is that with powders, the favourite powders of mine, my both the two favourite ones as I've mentioned, are talc based. Not everybody likes talc, because it has come under a lot of flack for litigation in the US, but against Johnson and Johnson for talc powder and the link to ovarian cancer. I'm not sure if that's due to the talc per se, or it's the fact that any of the powders that shouldn't be in your system getting into the system, because coal dust, flour from flour mills, asbestos, all fibres and dust that shouldn't be there get into the lung can cause cancers because they're a foreign body in the lungs. So I just think anything in powder that gets ingested can be problematic. I'm not particularly wary of talc because I don't use big dusts. Haven't used lots of talc throughout my life. At times when needed, I've used talc, but for the face, I don't create a powdery amount. That's not to say that other powders couldn't cause problems, as I say, but they tend to use an alternative mica and silica, and there is mica and silica, certainly based ones, or the ones that Laura Mercier used for brightening, but mica and silica are much harder, grittier powders, and they are very light reflectant, and I can feel them on the skin and they don't feel nice to me, and they tend to be just very whitening, so I'm not keen on those as items. So I'm going to stick with the talc and just be very careful in its use, really. So it's not, I don't like powder going everywhere, I don't like wasting product. So yes, a little modest amount, tapped out, rubbed in, there, good job's a good one. So the next thing I got was from Paula's Choice, and that's because I have one, it's my favourite, they produce my favourite retinol. It's the strongest retinol you can buy, at least here in the UK, and I think in the USA. And they've been producing this a long time. Now they've changed the packaging in recent years, and I think over recent years has been the with peptides and vitamin C, so it's an all-in-one. The only thing is you could use a hyaluronic acid with it. I actually use the Estee Lauder night serum combined with this, and I love it. Now I didn't go from zero retinol to this. I went in increments, and when I'd gone through everything that I could get here in the UK, I then took the plunge, because this was winning so many awards. So many dermatologists were saying this was very good. Tried this out, and it never caused irritation, although I did titrate it into the skin by using it once a week, twice a week, then 3 times a week until my skin tolerated it. So I get no redness, no flaking. But I did do when I was younger, not to do with this, but when I was younger anyway, and I think it's the rapid turnover of skin. Now, when you get older, that slows down, and retinol is supposed to speed that up. But I do use exfoliators, so that's probably why, I don't notice any particular major dry patches, but I would describe my skin as dry. So I've used this a long time, many, many, many years, and I want to continue to use it. There is a 1% of Boots. Now, Boots have had a bit of controversy, Boots the chemist, because a number of years ago they had a 1% that when tested was actually a hundredth of what it said. It was 0.01. So, go figure. So they reformulated and brought another 1% on about 18 months ago. I've tried it, I've used it, and I'd say it is an active, because I put it on my neck and it burnt the clavicles. It was actually gathering in there. It was a liquid gel, and it actually burnt. So I actually think it is a true retinol, a true active. But my preference is for this, even though this is £20 a tube dearer for the same amount. This is my favourite because it is a gel type, it is gentle on the skin, for me, never cause redness. But like I say, do not jump into this. Paula's Choice do other percentage retinols as a system before you get to this. If I wanted any higher, I would need to go to a dermatologist here in the UK and get tretinoin, which is the next step up. But tretinoin and retinol are pure forms of vitamin A, which is known to be an anti-aging ingredient. And there's lots of research on tretinoin and retinol and vitamin A and what it does on the skin. Now, there are other versions of retinoids called retinals. It's got AL instead of OL. This is obviously OL, and they are derivatives. Now, there isn't a body of research, because they're fairly new, to say that they actually work in anti-aging as it's claimed, that that there isn't evidence that they get line reduction or improvement in skin texture or intensity. There's nothing, but they may well come in time. So because it's an unknown to me and it's a derivative, a copy of a copy, I'm going to stick to retinol. The only possible spanner in the works that I can see coming is a YouTuber 2 or 3 months ago was talking about a change in EU regulations to limit the concentration of retinols in products down to 0.3%, which is just under 1/3% of retinol, which means that this couldn't be sold in the UK. However, they can, well, if we follow the the EU regulations, and although we're no longer in the EU here in the UK, we do tend to follow their regulations when it comes to health, safety and cosmetics. So who knows? If we do, then the EU says you can buy from sites outside of the EU. So Paula's Choice do have a site in the US, but they also have a site in the UK. So if they say, well, you're only restricted to buying in the UK, then there's a problem. So I suppose we'll have to reach that bridge when we come to it. If it is restricted here, then I will buy as much as I can before the restrictions come in, that I can safely use and leave on a shelf before it goes off. Then I will have to see what other arrangements I can come to. I'm hoping it won't happen. I'm hoping there's some kickback here in the UK that we will not accept that regulation, but who knows? I'm not sure why it's being done. Maybe it's been done because people are jumping straight into 1% and burning their faces. You know, but if you follow all the treatments, all advice and all guidance, the 1% ones or the strong ones do say do not jump straight into that. Even gram-active retinols do say start at the lowest level, even though they claim not to cause irritation at all. If they claim no irritation, why can't you go straight into a high strength? I mean, I really don't know, but I know with this you need to be very careful. So anyway, like I said, I picked up this and I picked up 2, and I tend to buy 2 at a time when they're 20% off. So these are 57 each. I paid 92 for the 2, and then you got gifts. So I've only ever found small samples that they give, but this time they've given a full-size cleanser of your choice. So this is the Calm one, and it's nearly 200ml, 198ml, and it has a tab on it there for hygiene and to keep it the ingredients stable. And then it has a depressed top lid, so you can pour some out. I'd use that as a final cleanse when I'm in the bath, for example, once all makeup's off. And I date it, so I've got October 23 on here, so I know when it comes into the collection, and it also goes on a list of items coming in. Then I've got another clinical firming eye cream. This one is retinol and vitamin C, so it's the same range as this, but it doesn't have 1%. It doesn't say it's the 1%. Now this one is the 1% retinol. There's all different strengths, different colours, but the purple is the high strength. But there isn't a strength on this, so it's unlikely to be 1% for near the eye. But it's 5ml, and this will last me a good time. Any time between, I'd say a month to 2 months for this, maybe 6 weeks. I have to see what the texture's like. But I am using retinol around the eye at night. So when I've used the ones I've got, I will introduce that, and if I like it, I will start buying it. Given it doesn't have a percentage on, it may well be this wouldn't get an EU ban. And then finally, I got a little pouch that is, I would say, I describe it as a coral. And there's 5 pads, and they're artificial fibre pads to look like felt, and there's 5 of them. So there is a peachy coloured one, I would say, and then there's 2 peach, and then the rest are coral, a pale peach, and then there's coral. So there they are. So although you know, a lot of them do say you can use it for makeup, I think they stain. I can never get the stains out. So I'm going to use this, like I say, as a final cleanse, or if I want to use them for toners, although they're quite absorbent, and I think they would probably take a lot of the product in, but they'd be fine for cleansers. So I'm pleased with that, because basically I got 20% off and nearly £50 worth of extra goodies that were free, so I can't complain at that. and I hope I don't have to bulk buy in future because of the EU directive, but who knows, we'll have to deal with that when it comes. But can I say thank you very much for watching, as I do appreciate your time is valuable. Hopefully I shall see you again in another video. Otherwise, please do take care of yourselves, and bye for now.